Scope of a variable. The scope of a variable determines over what part or parts of the program a variable is actually available for the use. Active. Longevity. It refers to the period during which a variable retains a given value during execution of a program. Alive. Local or internal variables are those which are declared within a particular function. Global or external variables are those which are declared outside any function. Scope of a declaration. Scope of a declaration is the region of C program text over which that declaration is active. Top-level identifiers extends from declaration point to end of file. Formal parameter in functions extends from declaration point to end of function body. Block and function local identifiers extends from declaration point to end of block and function. Extent. The extent of an object is the period of time that its storage is allocated. An object is said to have static extent when it is allocated storage at or before the beginning of a program execution and the storage remains allocated until program termination. All functions have static extent, as do all variables declared in top-level declarations and variables declared with the static qualifier. Formal parameters and variables declared at the beginning of a block or function have local extent. Dynamic deallocated on block/function exit. External variable or function. A top-level identifier is treated just like a static extent object in the file containing its definition, but is also exported to the linker, and if the same identifier is declared in another file, the linker will ensure the two files reference the same object, variable or function. Thus, top-level identifiers and functions are external by default. The conventions to use the external qualifier in all places that are simply declaring an identifier that is defined or allocated in another file and to omit the qualifier at the single point where the variable is actually defined or allocated space. Thus, external is the same as global or public. A static variable or function has only file scope, is not external. Thus, static is the same as private. Examples. Variables top level. Defining exported or external by default static extent. Declaring imported or variable is defined elsewhere. Not exported or external file scope static extent. Functions exported external by default static extent. Local function scope local extent. Not exported file scope or static extent.